Yeah.
Joey, what'd you do last Sunday?
On Sunday,
I heard you were in the streets.
I was.
Allegedly, Joey was in the streets campaigning for a socialist.
I was
Is
in
that
the
true?
streets in a very socialist part of the Atlanta area, and I was
It
chanting
rubbed off.
on everybody about Bernie Sanders, and I could not believe the number of honks we got, the number of people who stopped to tell me how much they appreciated what we were doing, how much they liked Bernie Sanders, and how many people were willing to take flyers from us. And I was also impressed, if I may say it, how charmingly ruthless Scott was with everybody on the street that he walked by, that he made sure that everybody learned at least a little bit about Bernie Sanders as they were walking by.
Can I get an example of this charmingly
Everybody.
ruthlessness?
No, you got to come out. You got to come out and see it for yourself, dude. I'm not gonna.
yeah.
You can't come into my basement and have me record you and expect.
If I
No.
may just say this, and I don't mean to insult the other Bernie Sanders people, but they were kind of walking by all the other people on the street and just chanting at the cars, but Scott would be the guy at the end of the line, and he would tag the people and say, hey, I really want to talk to you about Bernie Sanders. Have you heard of this guy? He's a progressive alternative to Hillary. He's willing to fight the banks. And he'd make sure that they heard a little bit about him. He'd make sure he handed him a flyer. And I got to say, it was quite an impressive campaigner. We could have used your help in 2012 on the Obama campaign, but it was quite an impressive.
Oh yeah,
performance.
no. Yeah, I'd be out there like, yeah, I know what you're saying. It's some bullshit, but no. So Bernie Sanders, that's what I'm saying. People want, like, I think, what if we had a Hillary Clinton march down the street? How do you think the reaction would have been? About the same?
Well,
Depends on which
It would have been like
More?
hilarious type.
Or would we got booed a lot? Would we have had the stuff
was
thrown at
crazy.
us? Because we had some people who like heckled us a little bit. Then we sit down and talk to them. Libertarians who were drunk, like a couple of them. And then we'd sit and talk to them until basically they were like, okay, we'll take your propaganda. Like, all right, like, and get to some form of agreement a little bit and be like, okay. So it was interesting, but you know, with Hillary, I don't know if I could have done that.
Well,
honestly.
Hillary did have a rally this week.
Oh yeah, she did.
There was a lot of people there.
a rally of fundraisers. I believe.
Well, she had a public meeting, and there was a lot of people.
It's a PR event. Come on, man.
It was very well organized. A lot of women.
Of course.
There. A lot of members from the
Man,
LGBT
if Bernie
community.
Sanders raised $1 billion, I wonder how organized he would be.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way our politics is run in this country, you have to
Sell out and be corrupt in order to get elected? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is the media is the tool that we use to inform people on issues.
But listen here, old man, there's this new thing called social media, and that's why Bernie Sanders is even in this at all.
But a lot of people who vote consistently, they are not, technology savvy.
Bernie Sanders isn't going to win from the old electorate. We got to go get new people. We got to go in the streets, go fucking door-to-door canvassing, which, I'm going to go to a meeting too afterwards about this, and register people to vote who don't normally vote, get them to understand about Bernie Sanders a little bit and be like, look, this is a presidential candidate who's not owned by the banks, who's actually going to change the not totally establishment.
Right.
He's actually going to challenge the establishment.
You're right, and it's only,
and
guess
like
what? With more money on social media, you can do a lot of things that your candidate can't do. It's just, you can monopolize, to the trends, and you can create trending topics. You can manipulate the way the internet is viewed by the consumers.
And I don't watch TV, but I know Bernie Sanders even gets on some of the mainstream stuff. This is why he's different than a lot of like the candidates. He's on TV a lot. He's just always dismissed. And then
Bernie Sanders, wait a minute, because I was listening to MSNBC and I heard that Hillary Clinton was running, and then I heard that there might be another Democratic candidate.
yeah, no, I heard yesterday was some bullshit. MSNBC. I mean, yeah, there's some bullshit. Even NBC's full of shit. Yeah, yesterday during the Hillary thing, if you noticed, they said that he's whoever it was announcing and said that there might be another Democratic challenger in the future to Hillary. I was like, what? There's already I can name two, and then there's that third guy who wants to change us to metric system, who's just fucking crazy and should just stop.
The only thing I'll add about this is I agree with most of what Scott said. The only thing I don't agree with is about the media thing. I don't think the media is not giving Sanders a fair shake at all. He's been on all the Sunday shows. He's on one today, the CBS Sunday morning program. He's been on TV. He's been on the radio. He's been in the newspapers. He's been given.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He gets a lot of exposure through it. But
and to be fair,
I don't think
I
the
will
media
say
has
the
been
media
unfair to
has
him
been
at all.
the media has been way tougher on the Republican candidates. Ted Cruz won't even go on.
But they don't take him seriously. Like, no, you're not listening to me. You're not listening. Like, I didn't say. I told you that he's on there a lot. But they just when they talk about him, they say he doesn't have a shot, like you. And so that's why you believe it. It's because the media says it. Be honest. Be honest. That's what you just said.
This is why I think Bernie Sanders does not have a shot. I believe that the majority of American people will not vote for anybody who proclaims himself to be a socialist. That's just we're not there yet.
Democratic socialist, and if you introduce people on the issues, they agree. And if you talk about the candidate, he's pragmatic. He's one of the most shit. Yes.
What you said, if you educate people on you don't educate electors on the issues in this country. We don't.
If I may serve a new point out there, have you ever wondered why it is that the media doesn't take Bernie Sanders all that seriously? Do you think that maybe there's a reason for this?
He's from Vermont.
Because he's from
honest,
Vermont. He self-identifies as a democratic socialist, which is a dirty word.
And
I don't think
but the thing is,
from Vermont it makes people disqualified.
Okay, ignore that part. And he's just not corrupt. He's like Bridgman said, he's not corrupt enough. He doesn't raise the kind of money that you need to be taken seriously. I mean, Hillary Clinton brags about how she's going to raise $2.5 billion this campaign.
He has too much integrity to be president of the United States.
This is
that's sad to say.
But who decides that? Cynical pawns like you, who are just going to go along with whoever's going to frack the shit out of our world, dude. You're the only one with kids, and then you're going forward with the candidate who's literally going to fuck our planet. Fracking is going to kill our planet.
Our planet is already
under the guise of fucking green energy. Oh, lower emissions. We're going to frack the shit out everywhere, create dead zones everywhere. It's going to be a brown fucking planet burning in, that's the reality, dude. We're deciding that in the next few years, man. 400 ppm.
Excuse me?
On top of methane emissions.
Twinkle fingers, whatever the fuck we do. But,
get me worked up with all this bullshit.
Hey, Bridgman's got the twinkle
Hypothetically, let's say Bernie Sanders wins the Democratic nomination. He is going to lose to a Jeb Bush or a Scott Walker. I just don't see that happening.
They're so dumb, man. You put them in a debate, like a one-on-one debate, Bernie Sanders is going to be genuine, he's going to be smart, and the Republican's going to sound like a fucking idiot up there. Consistently, I feel like.
I would like to see polling on this. I actually don't discredit Bernie Sanders to that degree, but I do think that the media discredits Bernie Sanders for reasons that go beyond the media. I mean, even for me, and I've gone to a Bernie Sanders event now, and I consider myself very politically active. But even before I had done all of this, I used to think of Bernie Sanders as a joke because of how he presents himself and because of how he talks about issues that I think are incredibly important that he doesn't seem to understand when he questions or asks questions about institutions like the Federal Reserve or the IMF. When he says these things, it sounds a little daunting to me.
The Fed policy is questionable in these last 20, 30 years.
Put this point out there. If it's one thing, when he says that he does not like the way that America's financial system has so much power over our political system, I like that. And that's something that I also used to like about Elizabeth Warren. But
so you like the vague talking points that Hillary can hijack and then do the same old bullshit.
Here's the thing, Bernie Sanders will then go above and beyond that and talk about the financial system as if he wants to smash it into pieces.
Smash it. He wants to break up the big banks is what he consistently says. He's not saying I'm going to smash into pieces. Like tax this crazy trading that just,
if
risks the economy. It's just bullshit.
To be taken more seriously,
and break up the banks so they don't risk our whole economy.
He's not going to get in there with a baseball bat and break loose on America's financial system. We do
needs to be a campaign ad.
He needs to look at the regulators, dude. Anyone who knows anything about the regulation of the financial industry, they know that all the best people go to work for Wall Street, and the regulators just can't keep up. And they don't want to. Like they're just crooked too. They don't.
It's like Brian had.
He needs to run into the steam.
But Scott, here's what you don't understand. Clinton has that soft-handed approach. There was a great Clinton donor in Politico and said, Clinton wants to do just enough. All those people
just enough.
Money. She wants to be bold, but not too bold. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of Clinton is that she's going to speak as if she wants reform.
And then if she's in the South, she's going to speak like this. Hey, y'all, it's Hillary Clinton.
But the big money's going to win. The big money's going to make sure that big money keeps coming to big money.
And as long as we keep repeating that mantra like Bridgman, good.
But wouldn't you agree? And this may be useful for him. But if he wants to be taken seriously, he does need to come out on certain issues and point out that he is in favor of a strong financial system that can stoke the fires of American industry. And he's not done a very good job
that's
at
a
that so
compelling
far.
message.
Yeah,
at
do you
the
think
moment.
that's
not a compelling message at the moment? This
But
is
then,
on
but
top
then
of that,
means that
I mean, you
academia
think
and media
Bernie
and
Sanders,
journalists
one
are gonna
president
have a
by
hard
himself,
time
is literally
taking
going
him
to take
seriously.
down the whole
Okay,
the biggest industry in the country? And I mean, how realistic are you being? You know how pragmatic he is. This is why he's not just like a socialist, like we were in like.
But if I may interrupt you on this point, this is one of the things that brought me into Bernie Sanders' admiration, you could say, is that he was actually the mayor of Burlington for I believe it was 8 years, and everybody was very worried when it happened because he was already a self-declared socialist. And he actually turned out to be an incredibly pragmatic guy. He was very creative.
I mean,
He brought
we've
a
seen
lot
how
of
all the
events, a lot of
self-proclaimed
business to
proclaimed
Burlington.
capitalists have been like everybody, Democrat, Republican.
In fact, even the
Capitalism,
business people,
capitalism, free
the
market.
business people in Burlington,
No one will question it.
actually liked him a lot. He did not make stupid zoning policies. He did not make dumb anti-zoning or anti-business policies in general. That
He brought a
sometimes
minor league
liberals
baseball
in other
team
parts
to
of the
the
country can fall for. He doesn't fall for any of these things, and he didn't fall for it as a mayor. He was actually a very good mayor.
He
And I
brought
think
a
he'd be a very good
baseball
governor.
team to
But
the
being
city.
president, there are a lot of other things that he'll have to deal with, and that includes issues like foreign policy, the Federal Reserve.
So what are you trying to say? He can't handle? I mean,
as senator,
listen.
he tried to pull the United States out of the World Trade Organization. I think that those are issues that the media and
You know,
journalists and academia
that's a whole
have
free trade. We can have another 2-hour debate on that
Here's the
topic. So I
thing,
don't know if we should get into that. But.
We're getting carried away into the policy issues and going back to Sanders as a person and Sanders' candidacy. First of all, like I said, the media has taken him seriously. That he's gotten plenty of press, as much as any of the Republican candidates are getting. I don't think you can say he hasn't been treated fairly.
I don't think, but no, it's not
The
taking
thing
him
is-
seriously.
the
Sting,
thing
you're
is
not
about
listening.
Sanders is this. The thing
'Cause they
about
don't.
Sanders is this.
They give him airtime, but they don't take him seriously.
Sanders is Ron Paul 2.0. Now, I'm not
Right.
necessarily talking about policy. I'm talking about the fact he has a very passionate group of supporters. You see it in people like Scott.
Right.
Extremely
But
passionate.
he's not batshit crazy. I mean,
But, well,
I would be worried about Ron Paul
I'm
being
not
president.
talking
If
about
you are,
policy.
it depends. It's all about perspective.
I'm not talking about policy. This isn't about
Sort of.
policy at all.
I mean, look at. I mean,
I'm
think, what would
talking
what would Ron Paul have done about global warming?
That
Doesn't scare the shit out of you just thinking about that? He'd say, "Oh, what if it's property rights? Like that doesn't make any fucking
That's not what
sense."
we're talking about.
I know,
I'm
but
talking
I'm just
about
trying to.
policy. What I'm saying
Bridgemark
is
keeps
this.
bringing up Ron Paul,
They have
They are
and you
very
do too.
similar.
You brought him up.
Because they are similar.
Yeah.
They are.
Very-
But I'm talking about the most important issue of the next century, global warming, dude. We got to think about this every time. We got to view all politics through that lens. I'm saying.
And I'm gonna say it again. There's nothing we can do about it. It's too late already.
Why-
The world is melting.
why are we
have to
talking
prepare
about
for
global
that.
warming?
We need to prepare for the world melting. There's nothing we can do to reverse the trend.
While we eat
Let me
our
just-
steak and shrimp.
Facts.
Let me just get this in, and then y'all can go out and argue about global warming all you want. The thing about, like I said, Sanders is this. He's like Ron Paul. He's got extremely passionate supporters that really do believe in
Except
him.
we're right. That's the difference between Bernie Sanders and Ron Paul.
You probably are on most things. I agree with you. I like Bernie. I do.
Bridgemark, we'll get into it then,
But the
issue
thing-
by issue.
But the thing is this. The Democratic Party apparatus is never going to let him get close to winning the nomination.
It's a
Just like,
fact.
just like they did not let Paul get close to winning the nomination.
And
The
dude, I'm telling
superdog,
you,
it's
you
a
guys
long
piss me off so
shot.
much with this bullshit, dude, and talking about
They
I'm
won't.
voting Republican if Bernie Sanders doesn't get the Democratic nomination.
No,
I'm
doesn't
saying it right
matter.
now. I know it doesn't matter. My vote's going to Republicans anyway. I live in Georgia. But
What I'm saying is this. This is what
symbolically, I'm
people,
gonna feel better.
This is
Fuck
what
you all.
people need.
Fuck you all.
This is what
I'm
people
voting green,
need.
but
This is what people need to understand. Sanders people, that probably often cases don't have a lot of experience with machine politics, is the DNC has built in a delegate system that favors the party establishment. They don't want McGovern 72 all over
But
again.
dude, what you also have to understand is politics exists within a culture. You change the culture, you change the politics.
But
Like
do you-
automatically.
but
If you
when it
change the
comes to
electorate,
a
you change.
convention,
It's not
You
like
gotta change the party.
When you
box.
go to a
you gotta go to your local Democratic
Yeah,
Party.
delegates.
That's where
Delegate
the delegates are chosen.
That's right.
And the state representatives and your state senators have a lot of influence on
I
who
can-
becomes
I can
a
tell
delegate
you-
or who becomes chair of a county party and state parties as well. So once if you want to change the public opinion of Bernie Sanders, people like you need to get involved with the Democratic Party.
And that's what we saw.
now it sounds like I'm being initiated into a cult, dude.
Well, you have to. That's the only way.
back to Ron Paul. I don't mean to keep bringing up Ron Paul because I know it irritates you, but this is the thing about Ron Paul. His people, they took over state parties. They took over the Iowa GOP. They took over the Nevada GOP, a few other state things. And that was the thing. They actually got their delegates elected, and that was why their delegates voted for Ron Paul at the convention, because they took over those state parties. If Sanders people actually want to win the nomination, that's what they have to do. Is you have to win those delegate counts.
And
you have to go to those conventions.
It's too late to do that.
Bernie Sanders
The
would be
people who
Rand
are
Paul
going
rather than Ron Paul. But here's let me ask you this, Scott, because I like Bernie Sanders a lot. In order for him to win, Democrats, including myself, have to be convinced that there's a really good reason to vote for Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton, who's a candidate that most Democrats already like a good deal. So what would your argument be, other than saying that Bernie Sanders doesn't want to play the money game and Hillary Clinton is? Bernie Sanders.
Isn't that the
wants
central
to
issue in
smash
American
up the
politics,
banks,
though? Since we
and Hillary
do live in a
Clinton doesn't?
plutocracy.
But other than that,
I mean, that reflects on every
you
issue.
do realize
That trickles down to every
most
issue. But I mean,
voters
yeah.
view what Hillary Clinton is doing as being pragmatic. She's playing the money game because she's running for president. What other reasons should people have to vote for Bernie Sanders?
People also
I'll
want
tell you, Joey,
the
I'll
vast
tell you.
majority of Americans also want money out of politics.
Exactly, 85%.
Which Hillary
of
Clinton
Americans-
also supports.
Oh, of course, everyone supports it. Republicans, Democrats, especially once they're out of office, especially when they're on the campaign trail. So did Obama, dude, right before.
Things like public funding that would actually get rid of it. That would
And
change
the,
our
and the
system
thing, and the
fundamentally.
thing is that Clinton.
Yeah, do you expect that from Hillary Clinton? Do you expect real change from Hillary Clinton?
Here's the beautiful thing
Not with
about-
Republicans in Congress.
The thing is that Clinton is learning is that she is triangulating Sanders' issues to make herself more appealing to the electorate.
I agree with
and
that.
and that is
But it's
going
just
to work
speeches.
with-
That's why I'm
to
like,
you it
it's just-
is.
but it's really-
that's all she can do is
You're
just
an
speak. She's not.
I know,
she's not
but,
elected
no, but I'm
official.
saying, once she's elected, she's not going to follow through with the rhetoric.
know
We don't know that.
And even if
we
she
don't
even
know
use,
that.
she even uses kid gloves on the rhetoric. When she
Excuse me.
steals Bernie Sanders' rhetoric, she uses kid gloves.
Excuse me, sir.
I heard her
Hillary Clinton
like
wants to
yesterday
get-
talking about like maternity leave, but she didn't really want to say we need like
When
paid
Hillary
maternity
Clinton is
leave.
elected,
But
she's going to try to get reelected, and she's only going to be able to do that if she fulfills some of her campaign
This
promises.
is the thing.
and this is the fundamental crippling.
Scott,
This is-
Hillary Clinton has been elected to office before. She ran for Senate, and when she served as senator, wasn't she a relatively quite a liberal senator?
Yes,
Yeah.
in the
she
issues
was.
that she supported.
But this
and
is
wasn't she a very liberal first lady to the point that the Clinton White House felt that they had to get her to stop talking and start focusing on issues everyone could agree
on
on?
certain issues she is.
She
This is
propelled
the
healthcare.
thing.
There's ACA because of Hillary Clinton.
This is
People
the
don't
thing.
even realize that.
This is the
That's-
thing, Scott.
I
I don't view that. I don't view that as the point in her favor or disfavor. Really,
I give all
honestly.
the credit
This is
to
the thing,
the
Scott, that
Heritage
you have.
Foundation, but
And to Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Give the credit to Mitt
Yeah,
Romney.
Mitt Romney. He's still, yeah.
This is the thing, Scott, that you have to step back and look at the big picture and think about. You are an extremely politically active individual. You read the news, you read different sources, you follow what goes on in politics, you follow the environment, you follow banking, you follow these different issues. Most Americans are not you, they're not me, they're not any of us in this room. So yes, you're passionate and you see through political rhetoric and bullshit and all this stuff that politicians say. But do you really think that a majority of the primary electorate is going to listen to a Hillary Clinton speech like the one she gave yesterday in New York and say, she's full of shit? Do you really think
I
the
hope so.
majority-
I mean,
you hope so.
Because
You hope
watch
so.
another, like watch.
Would you bet on it? Would you put your okay? Right now.
Watch three speeches. Watch three speeches from her. Watch one from the South. Watch one in New York. Watch one like.
most people are going to watch.
You have a
three
lot of faith,
speeches.
but would you put your
No,
money up?
probably not. But was that the question?
Exactly. That's my point. Though.
Would
This
you
is-
bet $1,000 that Bernie Sanders will win a Democratic nomination? Would you?
No,
do
I actually have $100 on Hillary Clinton being the next president. I've had it for 2 years,
Okay, all right.
and I want to keep upping it because he thinks she stands no chance.
You,
so.
but you see, and that would be. I would say that's a safe bet. I mean, I would bet.
No,
more.
I'm saying it's like, okay, if our planet is fucked, at least I get $100. It's like that's the way I'm looking at it. Because no, here's the reality. The reality is our next president is going to just by 2017. I'm saying I'm done with it all. I'm not giving a fuck. I'm gonna go do whatever the fuck I'm gonna do.
And that's the
We're gonna live in the
problem.
woods
But
because
the
by
problem-
then we're gonna be able to look towards the future and see
That's
the
the
trend that we
problem.
have. We're gonna see if we're gonna be able to deal with our environmental problems, with global warming, with the way our whole society and
But
economy
Scott-
is running,
but
the way our
Scott,
political system is fundamentally corrupt in the way that you just want to bow down to
Can I
and
just
not
say
even
this?
be able to
Can
imagine
I
any
just
change.
get
There's
this out
got to
here?
be change.
When you
It's
lose-
got to happen quick.
When
Otherwise,
you lose
it's
a
not
primary,
enough.
the reason why Valerie Wilson lost her state superintendent race here in Georgia because when after the primary and Alicia Thomas Morgan was beaten on and battered so much in the campaign, there was no reconciliation, and therefore she lost the election. Well, if you're saying that you'd be so upset over something that's inevitable. You said it yourself. You got $100 on Hillary Clinton. Why not take?
That doesn't mean I think it's inevitable. And that was long before I put. Disclaimer. I put that money out long before I thought Bernie Sanders was running. Bernie Sanders said he wasn't running at the time. Okay. That was before he even said he was considering it.
Now let's say. Okay, Bernie Sanders loses hypothetically.
In my opinion, on Bernie Sanders' chances has changed in the last few weeks. So
let me just say this though. Why not continue to push Hillary to get some of the things Bernie Sanders was trying to initiate?
Because lobbyists are going to drill holes right through it.
Not necessarily. Not if you lobby. Not when you lobby the people. I don't got to lobby. You can lobby as a citizen.
I would say that in response to that by Scott lobbying now for Bernie and trying to increase the pool of the electorate that supports Bernie, that's lobbying Hillary Clinton. By default, because she has to pay attention to what the public wants.
Right.
And this is the Sanders' goal. To go back to the thing, going back to the thing.
I don't think so. That's some bullshit.
His goal is not to win the presidency.
His goal is to do this. His goal is to carve out a portion of the Democratic electorate that believes in him and believes in his issues. People like Scott. He wants to motivate and mobilize voters. Keep his name on the ballot so that he can go to a convention and he can say, look, 20, 30, 40% of the Democratic Party supports me and my issues. And he'll use that to get concessions, and he'll turn it into some sort of an activism or advocacy group like a DFA, which was the...
No, fuck that. 1960. All right, so what I'm saying is this Bernie Sanders nomination is the Eugene McCarthy moment of our generation.
He lost.
And he lost. But what would he have won if it wasn't for all the cynics sitting on the sidelines saying he has no chance, blah blah blah. There was no social media in the 60s, remember that.
And like you said, social media can be bought and paid for as well. But aside from that, it's every time the parties are split so defensively, they lose. It's never a time. You look at Kennedy and Carter.
Maybe the Democratic Party needs to lose to take a fucking lesson. That dude, if you're corporate whores, what do you expect when you're running against corporate whores?
What do you think is going to happen when Jeb Bush is president for?
A lot of bad shit. What do you think's going to happen when Hillary Clinton's president? The EPA is going to greenlight fracking. They're going to frack the shit out of the planet.
You got to look at the outcomes that are most likely possible.
But look at the long term. Zoom out. Look at the long term. Maybe the Democratic Party would learn a fucking lesson if Hillary lost the election.
We are fucked globally. Either way, there's no stopping the train.
We're going to talk about that next. So I don't even want to get into that yet because I got some signs pulled up here. I got some arguments on that. But let's imagine that there's a possibility for humanity to have a future because we haven't fried our fucking planet.
Let's go to the next topic.
Let's go to the next topic.
Bring up these conservative. Bring up these. Please tell everybody, start the show off with your conservative talking point.